Okay, my name is Shekhar. I head creator partnerships at YouTube, Google. We have a fascinating panel. I mean, please sit. I'm going to stand for a little bit. Sorry, I've been sitting for a while. But before we get started, I know this is a topic that's top of mind for a lot of you. Quick question: how many of you have engaged with influencers, creators, and done meaningful content marketing this year? Show of hands, please. Just one, two. Okay, not many. Okay, so hopefully, in this panel, we'll convert a lot of you. But apart from that, even the folks who are engaging, I mean, there are a lot of questions that we want to answer, right? So before we get started with the panel here, a very quick intro about influencer marketing itself, right? So when you look at influencer marketing, a lot of people have certain notions about influencer marketing, right? It goes all the way from, say, a content sponsorship, which essentially means a brand using a creator's organic reach to reach audiences, or even a creator or an influencer today in some of the paid campaigns, just like we have used traditional superstars, right? That is sort of the top funnel. We also have at the bottom of the funnel a lot of commerce. You heard about social commerce sort of booming, so that's the other big area which also comes under sort of influencer marketing. And the third piece is we also use a lot of users, which is user-funded, a lot of activities where you use your users to advocate for your product and stuff like that, and to spread the messaging. But if you look at the influencer marketing overall, globally, that's a $10 billion market, right? It's amazing the size of this market, right? And growing to about 15 to 20 billion by 2025. And all of this is because of the explosion that we have seen on the content side and on the creator side, and naturally brands leaning in and spending more money on sort of content marketing, right? And we've seen activities right from top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel, like I said. The interesting thing on the creator ecosystem, and we heard some stat that was said, just on YouTube, we have over 6,000 creators who have 1 million plus subscribers. So it's an incredible explosion and sort of accelerated with COVID. And the other interesting bit, and we'll talk a lot about that, and we have Sarah here as a creator, is the formats that we have, right? So it's no longer, just the long form content. We have mobile first, we have podcast, which is audio only, right? And we have mobile first sort of formats as well. So there's a plethora of formats that sort of exist, and that's the interesting part that we want to chat about. Okay, with that very quick context on the topic, we have marketing without marketing. I like the title, and how sort of influencers market is growing overall, right? So we have, we'll start with Sarah, our creator, the Gen Z creator. A lot of you I know are saying, how do I reach out to Gen Z? Sarah has the answer for that, right? And Sarah is, and a very quick intro to Sarah. Sarah is a 23-year-old. She's been very specific about that. She's an entrepreneur, content creator. For those who are part of the Sarah squad, right, you know that she does videos around beauty and lifestyle, right? She's also started her own company, which is, and called a brand called Impulse Coffee. For all those coffee lovers out there, you should definitely go to her. And she has over 9 lakh subscribers across the different platforms, right? So that's Sarah. Please give it up for Sarah, please. Okay, we have next Kiran Giradkar, and I hope I said that right. And Kiran comes from the food and beverages industry. He has over 19 years of experience. He's a marketing leader. Right now he's the chief marketing officer and the communications officer at Nilons Food. So please give it up to Kiran, please. And Kiran, you're also a content creator, by the way, right? I saw that. Okay. All right. And the third panelist we have is Vikram Bhayana. And Vikram is a marketing officer at Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. He's a thought leader in the insurance industry. He has over 12 plus years of experience. And as the head of marketing, he leads a team of about 25 digital marketing folks to drive top of mind brand recall. So please give it up to Vikram, please. And last but not the least, we have Arnab, the most famous name in the country right now. So we have Arnab Mitra. Arnab Mitra is a serial entrepreneur. He's working on making everything digital. I love that. I mean, I think a lot of us do that. He runs an ideas first company called Liquid Asia, and he's the CEO of India's only first public cloud company, Digibox, that was launched by Niti Aayog in 2020. So give it up to Arnab, please. Okay, cool. Shall we get started with the panel? So as I'm going through the questions, I'd request all of you to also keep in mind, if you have any questions, please do share. We will definitely have 10 minutes at the end to talk about those. But I'll start with some of my early questions. So I'll start with Sarah first. I know she's the only creator, or second to Kiran, I must say. I just want to hear your thoughts on, we spoke a lot about how the content ecosystem is exploding, right? What do you see are the key trends that are playing out right now from a content creation landscape perspective? What are the shifts that you're noticing?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the introduction. And when it comes to trends shifting, I've been here for 7 years. So I've seen the landscape of content creation shift from being just us speaking to our audience, sharing our viewpoints, and them listening and relating to us, to now it being very fast, trendy. People's attention span has reduced quite a lot, which is what has caused the short form content market to boom so much. I strongly still believe that, there is a mix of both that is important to be able to garner the attention of our audience. Because if we are just creating short form content, we are here for a shorter time. They scroll through our feed, they might see a product or two, they might see our face and remember, okay, I've seen this person on the internet, but I don't know who this person is. So that's a very short-lived sort of fame, I would say, that is there. But if you catch any creator back in the day who's been creating long-form content, would say the relatability still lies there. Being a YouTube creator mainly for myself, I always identify myself as a YouTuber because I've always done long-form content. It's only lately that, Instagram Reels picked up when TikTok was banned, and now Shorts is also a multi-feature platform that YouTube is offering. I try and experiment with all different forms of content, but I think the major shift in trend now is that people want to consume shorter, faster content. Even if it's in the horizontal landscape, the attention span of the audience is not more than 12 minutes at the maximum, what I have noticed through my analytics, when it comes to a longer video also. And that also I'm saying, if it's a vlog, if it's a lifestyle moving sort of a video where I'm here 1 minute, there the next, and in a third place in the third minute. I cannot be sitting in one place and talking for 5 minutes and people are not going to listen. So that's the main shift that we've seen, because previously we could sit for 40 minutes in one setup and people would listen for 40 odd minutes and just enjoy that, leisure time that people would play YouTube. That's not the case anymore. So that's the major shift, and I think hassle that we are facing as creators.
Yeah, we're seeing, I think, just to sort of summarize that, we are seeing the T20 equivalent in the content world. Now, whether test exists or will coexist, I think that's a question that all of us are grappling with, but definitely we are at the cusp of that change right now. Thanks, Sarah. Arnab, I'll come to you. I know you, through your agency, Liquid Asia, you worked with multiple brands, and you've run several campaigns for them. How are brands sort of thinking of, how do I allocate my media spends versus, content marketing spends? And are you seeing any shifts, any changes, particularly post-COVID?
Yeah, I think, firstly, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. I think, you spoke about test and T20. I think it's not even T20, it's T10, right? So I think it's just catching up fast, and to Sarah's point, absolutely right. 12 minutes, I think you're really positive, but I think it's less than 3. But yeah, so I think what we are seeing currently is, in fact, Kiran wrote a very interesting post on LinkedIn, and guys, he's a fantastic creator actually. He said there is a difference between creators and influencers, right? And somewhere they're, kind of intertwining. Some people like Sarah are creators and influencers both. A lot of people are just creators and influencers. So I think what brands have also realized that there are creators and there are influencers, right? And I think the entire marketing budget is therefore is also split somewhere in the chief marketing officer's mind. I think they are, the yesteryear's television commercial budget has severely taken a hit, and some part of that, I would say a significant part of that, is kind of being allocated for just content creations. And that creation is also in various formats, some horizontal, some vertical, some are more, lucid, some are more, like static in format. But I think that piece and then the entire influencer piece are very different, because influencers are treated as media vehicles. I think very clearly it is like, here is an opportunity for me to connect with an audience, and then the measurements are similar. It's the engagement rate, is it the like, share, repost, etc. But the content piece, on the other hand, is very differently treated. So I think somewhat what I'm seeing with some of the brands that we handle, I think the brands have very clearly identified this, and as an agency as well, we are kind of putting them in two different buckets. One is a creators bucket and one is a media vehicle, where there is a new, part got added, which is influencer reach.
Yeah, no, exciting. I think the one big thing just want to tease out was how brands are now becoming influencers themselves. We get a lot of requests in terms of how can I work as a Sarosh? How can I be a creator like herself? And this is brand being, because brands can also be personified. And we're seeing a lot of activity around that on building organic traction. So great points there. I'll come to Vikram. Vikram, you come from the insurance industry. When a lot of brands come to us, they say, this content marketing is not for our sector, not for our industry, right? What are you seeing, play out in your industry, and how is content marketing relevant for you? How are you thinking? Are there any trends that are playing out in the insurance space?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. By virtue of being an insurer, I'll have to give you two examples for you to really understand what I'm saying, because by de facto as a product, not many people understand that. So bear with me a little bit, please. So at Bajaj Allianz General Insurance Company, Bajaj, how we call it, I'll share two examples. We are very clear that insurance is a conversational sale. Only if you talk about it, it sells. We've taken it to the next level. So we've got a facility known as RMs at hospital, that are relationship managers who are very well accustomed to everything that happens inside a hospital. God forbid if somebody has to get admitted, these people get in touch with you. They'll get you the right doctor, the right room, the right amenities that you need in a hospital. They'll keep meeting you during your stay at the hospital. And during the discharge, they'll make sure they'll do all the work behind the scenes. And at the end of it, get a document to you, you sign it, and it's cashless, and you walk out. Now the beauty here is I'm using my RMs as content creators and the end consumer as an influencer, because then if a consumer is happy, they take a testimonial on the spot. I'm not running after the fact that we need influencers who are working as influencers. We're using real life people out there who are using our products and services as influencers, and content creators as our own employees, because they identify the right consumer. Not everyone's going to be happy with you, right? You can't take everyone's testimonial. It could be a good or a bad one. You have to pick the right one and get it to you. My second example is, let's say if I come and tell you that if you have a Bajaj motor policy, and God forbid you meet with an accident, we'll be there by your side. Now that's actually fooling you, because by virtue of insurance, I have to be there when you really are down and out. But versus if I tell you that if, God forbid, something like this happens, step out, use our Caring Leos app, click photos of the dented part, upload it. In 20 minutes, you get the money for the claim. Now you fix your car, you go out clubbing, that's up to you. We don't question you on that. Now when I talk like this, the user himself, and we've got so many testimonials where they actually send us a video saying that, this really works, it's not a marketing gimmick. Now, what are we doing very smartly here is we are creating a facility and talking about it where the end consumer himself or herself are giving us testimonials. So they by de facto become content creators and influencers for us. So when people say that it isn't for an industry, it's for every industry, it's how you use it to your benefit. Some use influencers and it works brilliantly for them. For the product that we have, it's so complex that if I get a very famous name, they may not even know what insurance is. Then I'm fooling my system and the end consumer, because I'm selling something through them which even they don't know. And hence we focus on our customers and our employees, because they would know insurance the best. I hope that answers.
No, Vikram, I think that's super insightful. And I think it's the point that we were trying to make earlier of the broad definition of what influencer and content marketing is. He spoke about employees, he spoke about end users, and they are all influencers for your brand, right? So super insightful. I'll go to Kiran now, and I think a similar question. You come from the food and beverages industry. How do you see content marketing play out in your sector?
Okay, so I really get puzzled when somebody says that content marketing has arrived, because I think it is the way perspective has changed, how we look at it. since time immemorial, content marketing was always there. You know, when marketer actually speaks a story to a consumer, it is always the content. Okay, the way we are looking at it is now changed. Sarah just touched upon some of the key trends which we are following. I think one of the key insight and key trend which I find in this industry is that consumer is much now way ahead of what marketers think. They know what is happening much more than what we marketers do know. For instance, they understand what is the endorsement, they understand what is the salesy speech, they understand what is the content, what is relevant for them. That is where a marketer has to take a pause and understand very clearly what is my endorsement, what is my influencer, what is my content creation. As Arnab just touched upon, they are very different. They are absolutely different. Where we mess up is that when I find some content creator and treat them as an influencer. That should not happen. A brilliant example of content marketing when I'm saying it was since there is a very favorite brand of mine from a food and beverage industry, Coke. You see, Coke is a brand which I love, but I hate that product. Why I hate that product? Because I don't want my kids to consume that product. But still, I am a lover of that brand. Now, that actually happens because of the seamless content marketing those guys have done. Coke as a brand has a purpose to refresh yourself. Now, they have been refreshing you through your mouth and nose, through sensory with their product. But if you really see their content, the content called as a Coke Music Studio, they refresh you through your ears and visuals. There is no product there, absolutely no product. When I go back from my hectic office, just to relax and refresh myself, I switch on a TV to open up the content which is called as Coke Music Studio. Now that's a brilliant example how content can seamlessly be part of you and there can be a love for the brand which can be built by them. So coming to the age now, as we all agree, my problem is if I know who is the creator, who is the influencer. For example, influencer is somebody who should not sell you a product. The moment he picks the product in his hand and sells you, he becomes the endorser. And consumer knows that this is the advertising. If as a marketer, you understand this is not an influencer. Influencer is somebody who might be using a product which is kept somewhere. And you know that because you follow his lifestyle, you try to gauge, second guess that this must be a product he must be using. And that is where the credibility comes into picture. So as a marketer, if you can really cross-check the credibility of your content, then you have done it. So that's my 2 points on this. Sorry, I must have taken a longer time.
No, very insightful. I think a few points that I personally caught. One is association. I think association with properties, and we do actually work with a lot of brands, and I think the Coke Studio is a fantastic example. A lot of us here probably love that as well, and sort of becomes synonymous with the brand itself. And the other one is just leveraging the organic credibility of the influencer. If you make it a more paid, a forced association, it automatically loses the whole value. So I think that's a point well made. I want to come to Arnab actually, and you know the conversation we have with a lot of brands, a lot of the digital first brands are a lot more open in terms of having content marketing conversations, but some of the established brands still have a lot of reservations in terms of my brand tonality. How is that gonna augur well if I get an influencer, if I do content marketing? And I want to get Arnab your thoughts in terms of how content marketing is relevant from a new age brand to an established brand, for brands who've been here for many years. How can marketeers sort of play out content marketing irrespective of the life cycle of the brand?
See, last time you told me not to speak too much, but you're asking me questions, so I have to answer that.
You have to now.
So there's the first time he told me that, okay, I hope this Arnab doesn't speak as much as the other Arnab. I said, no, it doesn't. But now he's asking me questions. But yeah, I think somewhere I agree with Kiran. I think nothing has really changed. I think this has been this way, just the new format. I think one thing that he spoke about, that content marketing has been there. I think when people say it has arrived, it is because Kiran, it has kind of become more democratized. I think everybody is a content creator right now, right? So I think the brands actually realize that, right? But having said that, what I'm realizing is the established players and the new brands, and we happen to, and if I can take my team members also here. So we work with a Parlay and we work with another brand called Vega, and one is a very established brand and one is a, like a new age consumer product brand. And I see their approach and, the way. I think the established brand marketers and to Vega's credit, Vega has got a very good team coming from the brands like Samsungs of the world, right? So they have really attracted fine talent. But somewhere, deep inside, I think brands who have been there for 100 odd years, they have figured it out. Their approach is a lot more saturated. They just understand that, things won't change fast. Just because I can deploy 100 influencers tomorrow morning will not change my brand's positioning, right? And they somehow have understood it. The new age brands, I see a lot more transactional. So I think they are expecting influencers to become sellers. Yesteryear, there used to be this term which I don't hear that much called prosumers, right? There are consumers and then there are prosumers. I think a consumer who's pro my product is my prosumer. I think somewhere the influencers have kind of are becoming that prosumers, or they're paid to act like a prosumer, which I think, I don't see it change much. I don't see it making the brand's positioning change much. So to me, and there are a lot of influencer marketing companies and Sarah herself, but I think it still needs the same rigor and same kind of, focus and time for anything to work. So I think that's a change I see.
Yeah, no, point well made. And I'm going to actually accelerate a little bit. The counter is running fast. So I'll come to Vikram. I know we talk about, the full funnel marketing. A lot of creators have been, used from a top of funnel campaign perspective, but we are also seeing the advent of sort of social commerce, the offline to, online, the online to offline, kind of campaigns as well, where influencers are being employed. So in this full funnel marketing kind of a campaign strategy, how do you see sort of content marketing work out? What are the nuances there across the funnel?
Got it. So the good thing is that the end consumers become very, very intelligent now. So they don't want to see a separate campaign for awareness, a separate campaign for consideration, and a separate campaign for conversion. They're very intelligent, and if you give them separate entities for separate actions, they completely disconnect with your brand. They want a seamless tonality of either the influencer or the communication that you make. It's very important. But what is important is how you use this ecosystem. So by virtue of being brought up in an army, in cantonments all my life, we used to read this one line, and I never understood it then, but I understand it now. It says, respect all, inspect all, and suspect all. Now in terms of influencers, it's important to keep that suspect angle high, because you can't let the influencer become bigger than the brand, or let them feel that they're bigger than the brand, because then they're not doing justice. You wear the brand on your sleeve and not the influencer. Influencers helping you accentuate that. Respect all, you can't treat influencers poorly, because, or content creators, you have to make sure that you know that they're in the same journey as you to make it big. Inspect all, so that you keep ensuring that what you're set out to do, you're achieving. All those nitty-gritties, because there are a lot of times you get big influencers and you feel, ab kaam ho gaya. Paisa laga diya, we've got a big face, and they will deliver what they have to. Unfortunately, that's why a lot of brands or marketing campaigns fail, because they don't keep a track of all these three things. They either let the influencer become bigger than them, or treat them poorly, or don't keep a track of what needs to be delivered at the right point in time, and hence things fizzle out. So I somehow feel in all, the entire funnel, the funneling game of marketing, they're critical in every aspect. It's how you really use them and how you place them in the puzzle. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Vikram. I'm going to come to Kiran. I know we talk a lot about scalability of sort of content marketing campaigns, and for folks who've done this, they know that scalability sometimes becomes a challenge. Have you seen or done yourself in terms of how brands have solved this problem of scalability? Any insights, experiences you can share here?
So, yeah, I think somehow the industry is leveraging that in a very, very different context. More often than not, they are just trying to throw some coupon codes to generate sales or get more followers. That's how is the trend is something looking like. We have looked upon that opportunity in a very different way. We have seen on social media pages the interaction. Thankfully, in a food industry, there is lots of talent in India. Everybody brings in a very, very unique flavor and taste from the geographies of India. We have leveraged that to make them potential R&D for us. At Nilons, what happens is achar or the pickle is such a product which is very unique to unique regions. So if you really explore India, there will be 1,000 achars. So what we cater right now through our product portfolio is only a standard HR, but we have understood these conversations happening. And we leverage that with one contest, which is called as Pyar Achar or Mocha. Now this is like a giving entrepreneurship opportunity to them. You send your entries from your regions, we will select the best one, and we will mass manufacture it and sell it, and you will be given the proceeds of it. Now what is happening with this, there is lots of content being generated. Now, I have done lots of influencer campaigns. What I could get is number of followers, but I could never get sales. When I have seen these 16 women from different parts of country, they are selling a sprout ka achar. You might have never heard about it. They are selling gatte ka achar. They are selling drumstick ka achar, so on and so forth. They don't give me followers, but they give me sales. Because when they speak to their community and people, they are so credible. They don't have 1 million followers. They don't have even 5,000 followers. But the people whom they speak to, they are so genuine. They are so credible. They are giving me sales, and they are at the drop of hat. They are ready to sell my products. वो मुझे बोलते हैं, सर 4 cases खत्म हो गए, मुझे भेज दो. So that's the difference. I'm just trying to bring perspective here. I mean, it's all about how do you look at it. I, as a CMO or as a marketer, must not have looked upon them as just a follower increase mechanism, but to have a sales increase mechanism. So that's how you have to look at it. I mean, it all depends on industry to industry. I don't have the leisure of being on a D2C or on digital to that much extent, because my transactions are happening actually in the ground. So I got to be connected to them. So we have leveraged that in that context. So they are like my extended R&D family, and today whenever I create a new product, I send the samples to them and they give me the feedbacks on that.
Wow, this is such a refreshing perspective from what we traditionally know about influencer marketing. Thanks, Kiran, for that. The last question from my side before I open up maybe for 1 or 2 questions to Sarah. We've heard about how brands are leveraging content marketing, whether they are a new brand or an established brand. We've heard about the full funnel marketing. We've also heard about all the nuances in terms of scalability of these campaigns and how can we enable that. So I want to come to Sarah and ask her, how are creators sort of adapting to the brand requirements, and what kind of roles are now creators starting to play? Any examples that you could possibly share?
I think overall, from what everybody spoke, the main question of creator, content, or influencers is credibility. That y'all question that are sales really being generated, or is there just awareness of my product because a Sarosh used a Estee Lauder foundation, so it worked. But what actually I have managed to do in the past 7 years, or now here comes credibility of creators also. You cannot just get creators who are, and full respect to everyone out in the industry, are only sharing some bits and pieces of what they are doing, or only doing paid marketing campaigns, will not be trusted by their audience that much. They might be aesthetic to look at, but might not convert to sales for y'all. Now, I, for one, just was a part of Estee Lauder's campaign for their foundation. They did this thing where they chose, people from all walks of life. So they consider us as people, and they took us in that campaign. My audience has seen me grow from, saving my pocket money to buy that first MAC foundation that I did, So to buy that 2,000 rupee foundation, I had to save up and get my pocket money and this. So for them, like if you see the comments of that, my audience is only all about, how did Sarah make it here? Like, congratulations, Sarah. So it's that relatability, that trust, that credibility that I have built. And just like Arnab said, that, 12 minutes is a flex for me, because if my audience can sit and watch me for 12 minutes in an age when people can't even watch somebody for 60 seconds, is the flex I have with my brands that I work with. Because those are the brands that keep coming back to me. I have brands I'm working with since years now, and who will, I'm like a sure shot for the campaign for them, because I guarantee that sales, that natural, that thing and feel to it, and I will not follow the brief that will come 100% as it is. Now this comes from the brand perspective also, because when your marketing briefs come to us as a creator, if you're going to give absolutely no creative freedom to the creator and just give like, these are the hashtags to be followed, these are the bullet points, then there is nothing we can do. Then, you know, for the money, even we will have to go ahead and follow everything, because maybe we want the brand name attached to our media kit, or maybe we want the work, or maybe we want the money, or whatever it is. And we will follow whatever is given by the marketing team, and we will not put our creative freedom. But there are brands who are beautiful to work with, who will give their brief and say these points have to be covered. But if I mix my acne journey into an acne squad integration, that becomes that personal touch. It gives the brand relatability. It gives the brand a testing period. And I can definitely tell you it garners sales, because then they give you code which I can track and I can tell, and that's what's helped me build my brand also. So I have my own brand which I've built on the basis that I know I can convert into sales. That's the only way I'm running my business too. So the credibility and everything comes from both ways. You know, you have to give creative freedom to the creator, and you have to allow them that marketing right, because we have also been here for a while and we know what we are doing. So yeah.
No, that was a very passionate talk there. But yeah, I think very relevant, and we sort of, you know, as YouTube, we come into some of these conversations as well, where we, you know, the creators come and say, I know my community better than anybody else, right? And I think the point Sarah is saying, you know, they need to have that creative freedom to do justice to the campaign and ultimately deliver to the results that you are aspiring to. I know time's up. Can we take one question? Is that possible? Okay. One question, yeah. The gentleman there.
Good morning. Thank you so much. It was very insightful that influencers need to be very credible and relatable. My name is Ullas. Kiran, we have spoken before also. Maybe you remember. So we are Zaika Ka Tadka. We are also 90 lakh followers on social media. But what I want to know is that as an influencer, like you are talking about as a brand, how can a brand use an influencer? But as an influencer, how can I market myself, let's say, to a brand? Because the education to the brands is not that much about like what all influencers are there which are very relevant for them. And many times the traditional brands are very much still focused on the traditional marketing. They're not very open yet to getting to the digital. However, they're opening up, but still it is like, for example, a Dabur or all the 100-year-old companies. Arnab mentioned that, you know, maybe they already know that this doesn't work for them, but perhaps there is an opportunity there. So how does an influencer actually make themselves relevant for the brands? If you could.
So you're absolutely right. Even when we talk about brick and mortar products or FMCG products which are still sold through general trade, we are lagging way behind when it comes to digital. But yes, we have taken the note that the media habits of the consumers have changed. Okay, the screen, which was huge screen, now is a smaller screen. They are spending time on the smaller devices and much more time. There is no concept of appointment viewing now. So leveraging this, we have already started doing. That's how we are building the communities. Whatever it, communities must not be in the millions, but and they are very engaged communities. I will just give you the example. I was in a Bihar market. One very old fellow came and he bought one Dabur ka product, and he insisted the retailer saying कि इसका expiry date क्या है? I mean ये बिहार की बात है, and it was, I mean why I'm playing it out, because it was a real, you know, a big thing for me. He said कि expiry date के और 2 महीने बचे थे. He said कि नहीं मुझे fresh वाला माल चाहिए. So why I'm saying it, because these people know now terms, they started reading the labels. For this purpose, we have started making the interactive packaging and also started doing the influencers. But the influencers here are the macros or the influencers from the food industries. They do help us in telling the stories which cannot be told in 30 seconds. That is where in the long format, as Sarah said, 12 minutes for her, I think, I mean, that's a revelation for me. I mean, I still could not get out of the 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a challenge for me to bind a consumer. But any which ways, the long format stories are supposed to be told, and that is where we explain what's in it, for me. How can you make your food better? how you can be creative with a single Szechuan chutney, for example. So here, trust is most important. The person, I reached out to Ritija Devekar so many times, but she doesn't endorse any brands. Otherwise, she's such a key opinion leader for food and beverages. I never reached out to Sanjeev because he endorses so many brands, there is hardly any credibility. So, as a marketer, you need to pick and choose your battles very, very minutely. Because, as I said, consumer amazing है यार, उनको सब कुछ पता है उनको. उसको समझ में आता है कि ये क्रिएटिव में अगर उसने हाथ में पकड़ा है ना बॉटल, I mean, ये मेरा golden rule है. When I was working with Storia and I was selling Storia का coconut water, we have done collaboration with Malaika Arora. While she was stretching and the उसके इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स के साथ सिर्फ स्टोरिया का पैक रखा था. दैट पोस्ट परफॉर्म मच मोर देन व्हेन शी पिक्स द पैक, क्योंकि द मोमेंट शी पिक्स द पैक एंड स्पीक्स अबाउट द फैब फीचर्स एंड बेनिफिट्स, लोगों को पता चल जाता है कि यार ये वाली पोस्ट वो है, प्रमोशन की है. सो आई मीन दीज आर द न्यूएंसेस वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, एंड इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस ब्यूटीफुली यू कैन लेवरेज देम, एंड द टाइम हैज कम टू लेवरेज दोज, बिकॉज 30 सेकंड्स में कुछ नहीं होगा आजकल.
No, wonderful. I think I'll have to draw the panel to a close, but big round of applause to our panelists, please.